How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Scarlet and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be taking a look at loads of Pokemon rumors and leaks that you guys may be interested in. A lot of this information is going to be speculative, but there is some info that 100% is guaranteed to happen. So sit back and let's get right into this. So the first subject we have is this one, which we talked in previously about. Now, some of you guys didn't believe this, some of you did, but this is a subject matter that I think is interesting and important to bring up again. So what Pokemon tends to do, if you guys do not know this, is to often do countdowns without telling us they're doing countdowns. So sometimes they'll post videos on YouTube or they'll put out tweets and they'll do a countdown showing off every single, generation or whatever. Now, what's interesting specifically right here is that they're currently putting out these videos, these YouTube shorts of a kind, where they say, visit this region, visit that region. For example, they started with Kanto, they've done Johto, they've done Hoenn, they've done Sinnoh, and they're going to keep doing these. And if you look at when they release them, it's one per week. And if you look at the date that the next one's coming out, the final one, I guess, is June 22nd, and a week after that is going to be June 28th. And in this case, if you look at June 28th, if we actually check it out, it is on a Tuesday. But June 29th is also a perfect day for them to release another one for what? Well, the new region, because they're specifically saying visit the name of the region. Visit Johto, Kanto, Hoenn, Sinnoh. But they don't have a name yet for the Scarlet Violet region. We do not know what it's called, so it only makes sense then, right? Just think about this. If they're including these names, which, by the way, they've done this before. This is not new. They have done these sort of countdowns in the past. They did this for Sword and Shield's trailer back in the day. They've done this also for other ones as well. So keep that in mind. They do these countdowns all the time. So the next trailer, either June 28th or June 29th. Keep that in mind. Keep it in your brain. Remember it. It is an important date. So let's lead us into the next thing, which you guys may know about. We are really trying to figure out what is the new gimmick of these games. Well, there are a few subjects that could be brought up in regards to this. One of them is this post right here, and the other is this post right here. So let's see what Soul Silver, our local leak analyst, who analyzes a lot of leaks that come out and details, and here's what he has to say. Okay, let's talk about the symbols and the themes, right? So we know there's loads of symbology and symbolical type of things in these games that we don't fully understand. And he says, as you can see, there will probably be a nautical or navigation theme throughout the region, and what you can see right here, it looks like a bit of a boat, right? It does look like a boat, which I will talk about further as well later, because there are a few interesting theories that could be definitely real, by the way, that you guys have submitted, so stick by. But picture one, I believe the evil team, if we look at this logo right here, is connected to this one. I think it's a fisherman's net. Maybe the team are pirates that steal Pokemon like this, which would make sense because Portugal is a sea, and even Spain, they're seafaring nations. Throughout history, those two countries did more expeditions than anyone. Actually, interestingly, as pointed out to me by one of you guys in the audience, Lindsay Sensei, specifically said that Portugal was one of the first countries to actually meet with Japan, like actually interact and actually, get to Japan and get there and just interact with the people there, the locals. And they were even the ones who introduced the musket, which is like a firearm of sorts, like the original, shooting weapon that existed. They specifically introduced that to Japan, and they kept using that for multiple years until, of course, things changed over time. But keep that in mind. There is a connection between Japan and Portugal historically, and Spain as well in general for the rest of the world. They are seafaring nations, so pirates were back in that time very prevalent. Seafaring was also very prevalent. It only makes sense then, right, that maybe the evil team are some kind of pirates in this case. Picture two, like I said, I believe is the Pokemon Gym logo, which is right here. Most definitely this is the logo, but it does give a boat feeling, which makes you wonder what kind of gym is this going to be. He says, gym symbols usually have Pokeballs in their design, which is true. Picture number three is this one right here. Now, you guys may know this already. These are the logos for the different schools that you as a player are going to be taking part in, right? These are definitely going to be school logos. One is going to be over there for Scarlet, and this one right here is for Violet. And why am I saying this? Because obviously the colors are on them, but not just that. These logos as well, by the way, they're also on your arms, but depending on which game you're playing. Your character actually has different logos on the arms, and they're actually respectively silver or gold, which could be hinting at Pokemon, gold, silver remakes in the next few years, but we'll have to wait and see. But he says here, I believe the two academies that are related to the game's plot do have these logos, right? Obviously. And picture number four, which is this one right here. This is the same logo, by the way, if you guys didn't know, right here. This logo was also featured in the real life segment of the Pokemon trailer for Scarlet and Violet. That was the reveal trailer, the first one. This same kind of logo was there, but here it has a fire theme around it, which is really interesting. And somebody pointed out to me that this kind of has a shape similar to Pikachu's tail, so the Does that have a connection there? Maybe there are dual type gyms. Like a gym isn't a singular type in this game, but maybe the gyms have multiple types, which is why maybe as we looked at this one previously, the arena here for this one looks like it's a grass type gym. But what if it's a water grass type gym, like a mix of the two? But he says, I believe this is one or two things, or it's both. It symbolizes the gimmick / the third legend, and a bunch of triangles and facets of a diamond making a star, and or it has to do with this, a very apparent racing sub-theme, because there is a race theme in these games, because as you can see, there are literally gas stations as Pokemon centers in this game. So maybe it's, you know, some kind of sub-theme of racing that many people haven't mentioned yet. Here's a breakdown that perfectly shows all the hints to that, and here's what Eduardo says. So, Scarlet Violet has a racing sub-theme, which is true. Maybe even a regional gimmick that has to do with racing. Legendaries reference bikes and riding. Pokemon centers look like pit stops and or gas stations. One of the advertisements is for tires and wheels. Literally, there is one that's just like that. You guys can see it right here. It literally is an advertisement for wheels with a quillfish, in case, I guess, you hit a quillfish on your road, you know, so you can get replacements. And then he continues on. The lightning star logo appears on a racing flag, which, yes, this does look like, you know, the flags they do like on races, like, you know, like to get you started or whatever, at least back in the day. But it does look like that, and racing is popular in the Iberian peninsula, which is fair as well. And lastly, it seems some of the people over at IGN are paying attention to it too. This article is so very well done and breaks down the fourth picture here and more about the Scarlet Violet region. And this is from Casey DeFratis here, who says, I had a ton of fun scrutinizing Pokemon Scarlet Violet trailers, and they kind of go into it a bit further into this article about this kind of stuff. If you guys want to take a look at this article, there is quite a few different things to, you know, look for, but they even mention here also, like, you know, that it appears there is some kind of connection between these pit stops and racing and the legendaries with racing. We already know that there is some kind of theme there, but the question is, how does this all relate? The big question, how does all of this relate to the big new gimmick with the crystals that we've seen? Well, let's go a bit further into that. So, he talks about here, alternatively for that first picture, I cannot throw it out as being just a spider web like we first thought. Maybe it has to do with Ku's Japanese bug hint, but probably not. Maybe the evil team and or the legendary has to do with a spider. Maybe it's a bug gym based on this mama spider sculpture in Bilbao, Spain, which is kind of creepy. I'm not going to lie. This thing freaks me out. But maybe it is based on that. Who knows? Because this apparently is, like, it's Spider is an ode to my mother. She was my best friend. So that's what the person who made this basically says, which is a interesting way to kind of relate to your mom. But here's what Ku said, or somebody asked Ku, is there a good bug type in this game? He said, yep, Japanese style cool bug this time, which is interesting that he pointed out like that. So what do you guys think about that? Let us know in the comment section down below. And let's move on to the next big thing, which is for this right here. So Lindsay says, this may be related to the wind rose and the compass, and they're important items for navigation. So there is a theme of seafaring. Again, keep in mind, Portugal and Spain, especially Portugal, but even Spain, again, they're seafaring nations. They're nations that rely on exports, imports. They were known throughout history for traveling all across the world, conquering lands, you know, all that stuff. They've done a bunch of things, okay? My point is, if you look at that logo up there from the website, by the way, the top logo, the top image up there, that's from the official website, the Japanese one, and the logo literally looks like a compass, right? Which could relate, again, back to this idea of like navigation of some sort and seafaring and traveling, because we will be riding on our legendary Pokemon most likely based on the information we know. So it only makes sense that traveling is very important, especially in an open world game like they're trying to do here, that's fully open world with, you know, you having to travel from one location to another quite quickly. So keep that in mind. We move on to the next thing though, which is right here. So this is about the crystals, and this was sent to me by one of you in the audience who put together a kind of interesting theory that I think is quite worthwhile to take a look at. So just bear with me, sit back, relax, and let's look at what Just PSV 1995 said. So he says the following. I made some interesting about the crystal scenes from the second trailer. Could you give this your thoughts? So first of all, as you guys may notice, if you look at the actual crystals, there is kind of a shape of almost like some kind of creature in there, but he says it may not be the mane of a lion, but instead the face of a lizard / dragon with frills. You guys remember that weird dinosaur from Jurassic Park 1 that kills, you know, the big guy who, you know, is trying to ruin the park? Well, basically, something similar to that. Think Heliolisk or something like that. That type of design might be going on right here for some kind of lizard. That's what he thinks. and that's where he like kind of lines it out with pink here. But if you look at this over here, shape of a head, possibly, evil looking eyes, possibly, and darker than most of the image, so black as a color, you know, again, seems like this might be the evil dragon, which relates to this old rumor that seemed to have been correct. I've covered this one before, and this rumor actually seems to be legitimate, where the guy says the legendaries are an electric snake and a bipedal wyvern, and the evil one is a black dragon. So that would be what he's referring to here. The evil one, the bad one, the third legendary could be a black dragon, or it could have something to do, it could be in a similar vein to Necrozma for Pokemon Sun and Moon. Something similar to that. But here's what he said. So, maybe an evil dragon inside a crystal, which relates perfectly to this image right here, because there is a design like that right at the bottom. Look, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. This kind of weird lizard-looking thing. These guys, or, well, they're also dinos, but basically, this thing, as you guys see, this image right here, this is from a giant collage. This collage is a legitimate leak. Everything you see right here is a legitimate leak. Like this image, it hints at stuff. It's giving us information that we don't know. For example, we're going to get a Tauros form, a brand new regional form for Tauros. Also, this top image, that was for one of the legendaries, Miraidon, you know? That's what it's for, you know? Miraidon, it's like, it's for that one, because it's a cockatrice. It's basically a mythological creature that's half dragon, half wyvern, half, you know, a rooster of sorts, right? If you look at, you know, Miraidon, it actually literally has like that rooster design on its head and everything in the lizard vibe. And the same thing with the rest of these are definitely hints, you know? So, is this related to that bottom image? Because it seems like the crystal might be hinting at that specifically. He says, what if this lizard is not hinting at a regional form Heliolisk, but a third legendary, a dragon designed based on this lizard, and black could be the frills, with the dragon head would look similar to this lizard. And I think that might be the case. This might be the present time, or the literal embodiment of, like, you know, the opposite of, you know, the past and future, the present slash something that's like kind of gonna mess with both of those. I speculated, and a lot of people speculated, it could be related to literal sunlight, like the literal sun. So not Solgaleo, which is an alchemic version of the sun in terms of that game in Sun and Moon. I'm talking like the literal sunlight, the literal transfer of energy in this case that happens. Because remember, if you want to travel, you know, the sunlight is everything. The sunlight creates everything on our planet. It, like, without it, we wouldn't be able to see, live, breathe, anything. Like, without it, literally nothing would function. So it only makes sense maybe that we might finally have a legendary that's 100% based on the sun. Not Solgaleo, but something that's 100% based on it. Something that literally creates it, that creates the light. Necrozma absorbed light. This thing might create it itself. So, well, let's see if that's going to be the case. Moving on to the next thing, he also pointed out here and said this in one of his, this is the same person, by the way, saying, by the way, there is something interesting in the anime fairy tales. The final battle takes place inside a rift and space-time, and the place is completely filled with crystals. Could be coincidence, but still, well, I don't know. It could be a nice little, like, you know, like nice little connection there you're making. But we move on to the next thing, which is also from Lince Sensei, who says, Cromeleke dos Almendres is located in the parish of Nossa Senhora de Guadalupe in the municipality of Évora, district of Évora in Portugal. It consists of a prehistoric stone circle. So you guys can see it in the distance over there. It looks like we're going to get this location in the game. And he says here, it's basically a prehistoric stone circle, Cromlech, with 95 stone monoliths. It is the most important megalithic monument of its kind in the Iberian Peninsula, and is one of the most important in Europe, not only for its dimensions, but also for its state of conservation. So yes, they're actually making, there's going to be a lot of, for a fact, a lot of Portuguese references you're going to be seeing in the world in this game, so keep that in mind. It's going to be a lot of that. So maybe if you guys want to look at information, do some research on Portuguese history, lore, whatever, and you might figure out what some of the Pokemon that are going to be in this might be based on, even some of the locations. And even says this, we even have this like a dish called chorizo a bombeiro, which is basically a firefight chorizo. We set a chorizo on fire on top of a structure made of clay that's shaped as a pig, which, yeah, basically they put like sausages on this thing that looks like a piggy, and then they just, you know, put them on fire. So could this hint at possibly there being a fire type, you know, evolution, you know, or extra typing for our guy Lechonk? Oh, yeah, I don't know. El Chonko. I said Lechonko. I don't know. But basically, could that be hinting at it? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Also, he made the point right here to me that if you look at actually that logo, it does look very reminiscent of these old Portuguese like boats. He specifically, I think, says here, this is a Portuguese man o' war. The boat, which, you know, you guys can see right here, that's the Portuguese man o' war, which is just kind of this, you know, old school type boat, and they could be referencing that here too. And he also says, if you look at the actual arena up there, the arena does look similar in colors to the Portuguese flags. He also says, if you look at the windmill that's on the left of it, here shows windmill from Pico Island from the Azores archipelago in Portugal, not Portugal. There you go. So again, there's a lot of Portuguese references in this, clearly, which makes me wonder what else is there. There probably is going to be some legendary connections here, but we'll have to wait and see. The final thing we have here is, in reference to Portugal, is from Atto, who put together a giant thread about what all these different things we've seen, like all the brand new Pokemon, everything is connected to. So for example, Lechonk, his inspiration isn't too hard to get. It's a pig. Even his name, Lechon specifically means, in Spanish, a little piglet, a little pig. And he says here, he's a pig, animal particularly present in the gastronomy of Iberian Peninsula in the form of ham or pork grilled on a spit. The light leton, that's probably why it's adopted a dark color. It reminds of the cooked pig, but also it basically looks like an Iberian black pig, which are very famous down there. Also, Smollett, well, nothing too complicated. It's an olive, reference to these many olive farms present in Spain. The area where it is in the trailer, however, is reminiscent of the fields where the olives are exploited. Well, I guess, you know, where you get them from. We can also imagine a shiny, like, black color of it in a reference to black olives, which is definitely going to be the shiny color of this one. I literally predicted that myself in one of my videos, but either way. Palmy, which is the new Pikachu-looking one, rodent as usual, but it's very similar in Pikachu in colors, I guess, a little bit. And its colors, imagine, kind of, it could be, like, possibly evolving into Gorochu. We'll have to wait and see. Then the legendary Pokemon, we kind of already know this. Koraidon and Miraidon, opposites thematically. Korai means the past in Japanese, and Mirai means future. Koraidon also seems to be sport a style reminiscent of the headdresses of leaders of Indian tribes in America, while Miraidon is a futuristic look. They even do have that whole, like, motorbike design with them. I don't even know what to say, man. That's just goofy. Another element around the legendaries, their resemblance to motorcycle elements, maybe new means of transport, 100%. And of course, you guys already know about the new guys here, like the professors. There is speculation that they might be evil. And I'm not gonna lie, the speculation actually is reasonable. Like, I do think speculation that they might be evil is reasonable. This thematic opposition here, I also seen in the design of the two professors of the region. On one side, an old cave woman, the prehistoric look for Scarlet version. On the other hand, you have a futuristic style reminding him of Ultra Commando of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon for Violet, which is true. And there might even be a connection to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and those guys from, like, the Recon Squad or whatever they were called. There might be a connection to that. Also, the new game mechanic seems to be hinted as well, as you guys may have seen from, like, the hands and the gloves and all that sort of stuff. And we can pretty much confirm that the return of Wingull, and Galarian Zigzagoon, Tauros, and Quillfish will also be possible because of, like, some of the stuff we've seen that's been shown off in the region. So that's pretty much Atto's kind of, like, big breakdown of all this stuff. If you guys wanted to see that, there you go. There's also this theory here by Anaho, who says if you actually, like, look into some of the details about, like, you know, the backpacks on these characters and what they say, it actually kind of matches up in a weird way, if you guys want to look further into that. But that's pretty much it for that section of the video, guys. And I want to just know you guys' thoughts and opinions, because I do guaranteed think, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I guarantee think we're going to get a trailer again this month. It's happening, no questions about it, like 100%, like 100,000% it's going to happen. But there is so much more that we have kind of missed. Like, there seems to be a weird thing going on between the new characters. So the new guys, let me show you guys this. Something that very is interesting that Atto also mentions. I personally agree with this. If you guys see it right here, the two groups seem to be opposing each other and clashing ideologically, right? We can imagine a scenario like in Hoenn where we face the other team depending on the version chosen. Guys, I think we're getting something similar to Ruby and Sapphire. Now, if you guys don't remember Ruby and Sapphire, in Ruby and Sapphire, you had two evil teams. In Ruby, it was Team Magma that was the one that you dealt with all the time. In Sapphire, it was Team Aqua. Team Magma and Team Aqua both were trying to get a certain Pokemon. Team Magma, Groudon. Team Aqua, Kyogre. Those two Pokemon have, throughout history in the Pokemon world, battled each other. Why? Because of territory. One wants to create a world filled with ocean. That's Kyogre. The other one, Groudon, wants to just create more land. So they are mortal enemies. They hate each other, but they were both quelled by Rayquaza. Rayquaza quelled their battle, and they both disappeared into their caves to rest for eternity until people came, and one side wants to create more land, that being Team Magma. The other one, Aqua, wants to do the opposite. So is it possible that the two different schools that we're looking at here, so Sada, which is for, you know, specifically Scarlet game, right? She wants to maybe try to get the whole region and everyone, and you included, to try to get your hands on the, Scarlet legendary, because it's from the past and you want to bring the region back to a more past theme. Whereas the other side, the Violet side, is specifically with Turo, the other professor there, are trying to influence you to make sure. So maybe these guys are the villains. They do look kind of evil, I'm not gonna lie. They don't really look like the most, best and friendliest of guys. Usually, if you guys think about our professors, they tend to be older people that are wise and kind of like that. These guys look like young and opportunistic. They look like they're gonna be trouble. And I'm gonna say it right now, I think these are our villains. I think these two are the villains of this game. I think they are guaranteed the villains of this game, and that they're going to be the reason things go haywire, and they're going to be like the ones trying to sort of like harness the power of the legendaries. Meanwhile, we will kind of be there doing other stuff. That's why I think that there may be some weird stuff going on here with the lore and the story, but we'll have to wait and see if that's going to be, like, I don't know, maybe my theory is incorrect, maybe I'm talking out of my bum, but I do think that there is some value to be seen there. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. If you did enjoy, drop a like down below. I will be live on Twitch right after this video, so go to Twitch if you want to check out me streaming a bit of Pokemon challenges and stuff, and I'll see you all there. Peace out, and bye-bye.